Good morning everyone, welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on the Stoninator. Today we're gonna watch as he turns Yu-Gi-Oh monsters into Pokemon. Now the only ones I know that we will be getting, because of the thumbnail, are the Winged Dragon of Ra, Obelisk the Tormentor, and Slifer the Sky Dragon. Now then, let's hop in and see how we can turn these mystical gods into Pokemon.
I can't just keep doing this. The same thing over and over again.
What fossils we might be able
There has to be another way.
turning different things in my office into Pokemon.
Oh wow, so he apparently has a whole series of turning something into Pokemon. It's kind of driving him mad.
There you are.
Greetings!
Ooh,
Beyond
big
video?
box.
Come on in
Lots of boxes.
and sit on down. These
Hey, I got
are
that
my
exact
Yu-Gi-Oh
same
cards.
book.
I've been such a huge fan of this property
Finally,
since
whatever.
all the way back in 2002 when the trading card game first made its way to America. Even though the manga itself was released all the way back in 1996. That is a full 6 years between the property becoming a thing and officially becoming a trading card game here in the States.
That is true.
I love this game so much. In fact, I think I got my first set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards before I got my first set of Pokemon cards. So eventually,
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I had to turn my gaze towards this property. For those of you who don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh is all about, it's about an old man trying desperately to get into the body of a young high school student.
Hey, yo, what?
FBI, open up!
That's not technically right at all. I mean, the whole point of Yu-Gi-Oh is that, like 2,000 years ago, people were playing in the shadow games with actual monsters trapped in these giant stone tablets. Then some guy named Maximilian Pegasus decided to reinvent the game in creating the modern day version. And yes, that's actually true. Kaiba Corp is only the people that actually made the dual disc and all the dueling stadiums. So Maximilian Pegasus is the one who made the game, the cards, and the rules. Which is why he was able to change it up at the start of Duelist Kingdom. Sorry, I'm a nerd, I know a whole lot.
Yet the spirit of Yama-Yugi is sealed away for a number of reasons and is only let out through the Millennium Puzzle, worn by, coincidentally, a young kid who happens to look just like him. So through that spirit in the heart of the cards, as well as the power of friendship and every other trope you can think of, Yu-Gi-Oh became a thing. And now we're turning them into Pokemon, because that's what we do, and it seems to be something that I just can't escape. So without much further ado, let's hop right into today's video. I love these so much.
Let's do this, Stone.
Alright, let me ask you a question. When you think Yu-Gi-Oh, your mind probably gravitates to one specific monster. Maybe it's your personal favorite, or one that you built an entire deck around, or one that you just hated beyond all reason. I'm looking at you, Ojama Yellow. You know what you did,
get off
and
my
I'll
screen.
never forgive you. In my opinion, Yu-Gi-Oh fits into a strange part of the TCG world, one that many other franchises can't claim.
Wait, is the first beast he's drawing the Blue Eyes White Dragon?
I mean, how many other franchises have the villain's partner as the closest thing to a franchise mascot? I'm talking about Seto Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon, a monster so nice they made it twice. 3 times.
Oh, yeah, no.
4? 5?
Oh,
okay.
boy.
Are there any other Blue Eyes White Dragons around that I should know about?
Yes.
Yeah, this thing has gotten support, retrains, new artwork, and more. So I knew that I had to start us off with this ivory beauty. Although, for a famously white dragon, this thing has had quite a few color variations, from pearly white to an off blue to an almost grayish interpretation over its silvery skin. I'm gonna be honest here, turning this guy into a Pokemon was a lot more difficult than I'd anticipated. As with such a stark white coloring, I had to find ways to not make it feel too plain. not many Pokemon are just a solid
Well.
color outside of Generation 1. I mean, there is quite a difference in design between this guy and this guy.
Talented,
Yeah.
brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
So, I went in trying to give us as much personality as I could, while knowing that shadows would have to pull a lot of weight in this look, as highlights would be near invisible. The other issue is that the blue eyes is just so iconic in its design, so I had to figure out what to keep and what to toss in this simplification.
Yeah,
Those
how
horn
do you
things on its
taunt it?
jaw I knew I had to keep, because I grew up drawing Blue Eyes White Dragon's Toon counterpart so
Oh,
often,
yeah.
and I remember
Blue Eyes
really
Toon
getting
Dragon.
stuck on those, so this is kind of my version of revenge, showing that all these years later, I can pull it off. Hopefully. Potentially. We'll see. The eyes would, of course, need to be blue, and it absolutely had to keep those massive wings. Once I knew what we'd be keeping, it became a lot simpler to streamline us down into that Pokemon aesthetic, and I no
Yep.
longer felt like I had to stand at the edge of a bridge just to keep from losing this battle. I did end up keeping that bluish-gray tint, though, just for the shiny, because while Blue Eyes White Dragon is iconic, I think
Oh yeah, that's right. With shinies, I'm actually gonna have to move down.
that tone that they've used throughout the series of being just a little
right,
bit
here we
blue
go.
or gray or off-white in different lighting as we've seen it is just as iconic. So here's our boy Azulus.
Ooh, Azulus.
The blue-eyed Pokemon. Seemingly appearing from an alternate world, this Pokemon has become well known for its lustrous scales, as white as snow and near blinding to look directly at. It has near limitless potential, and seems to often be seeking something to advance its power. Only 3 have been discovered, and have been moved to different parts of the region
Ooh,
for
good
safety.
thinking.
Now, I remember as a kid,
Ooh,
I didn't know
Slightfall.
anything about the
Nice.
idea of card shops. All I knew about were to find cards was that Walmart had them and Target had them too if we were feeling exceptionally fancy. But the idea of going
Fancy.
into a store saying, I'll take that one, and just being handed it, well, that was a foreign concept to me. So when the Egyptian gods were introduced into the game in the Battle City arc, I was enamored. They were monsters that existed in no packs. They were powerful beyond all recognition, and they weren't your typical monsters. These were gods. Yeah, I drank the Kool-Aid.
Divine
I
beasts.
felt everything that I, as a young kid, was intended to feel about these things being unveiled, and I
Hell yeah.
desperately wanted them. I mean, I begged my parents to get them for me, with rumors circulating the
got
playground
all
that
3.
one kid had them, or maybe it was a different kid, or a kid from just a different class that we hadn't met yet. In reality, probably none of us had them.
Hey, I mean, at least you weren't going about on like the Battle City or challenging someone for the rarest card.
But we all felt that rumor that someone in the school was just like the characters we watched on TV. These monsters seemingly flung themselves into the realm of godhood, not just in the anime, but in the world of this lonely 4th grader who really only used TCGs as a way of connecting to other kids. When I rode the bus, I collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Why did I start collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Because other kids had them and it was my excuse to talk to them.
Oh, that's
So why
a little
not
sad.
start with my favorite of
Sounds
the 3?
a little sad.
Why
Sorry.
not start with Slifer the Sky Dragon, the one that I wanted beyond all else?
Agreed.
Fun thing about
I love
Slifer,
him.
though, this monster was actually named after Roger Slifer, a producer and storyboard writer at 4Kids, well, the English dub division, and luckily for us, their dubbing and censorship were always on point and never caused any issues with the artwork and storytelling.
A little here and there.
You truly
But-
are a stubborn one, aren't you?
Hand over that prize money or
Ah, yes, the deadly pointed finger! Reason why is because in the original, he is actually holding a gun to Pegasus's head. Yeah, they took out guns for a good majority.
Yeah, no, 4Kids has been made famous for their weird censorship and awkward dubs, but I do have to give the translators for the cards some credit for letting Joey Wheeler write some of the monster descriptions.
That actually
Hey,
is funny.
this mighty lizard man can swing his sword so fast that it's more than the speed of sound. Joey, don't ever change. So when coming up with how
Well,
this
you never
design
will.
would work, I had to keep in mind that it
Fictional.
would have to be part of a trio, and it should therefore keep some connective tissue between the three design-wise.
Oh,
I went
yeah?
with my favorite design element of that blackish rubbery material that we've seen in future Paradox Pokemon, as well as similar to the segments that line the eyes of Arceus, Giratina, Palkia, and Dialga. There's just such an association of this texture and look with that mythical and godly type of aesthetic. I've also really been digging the wavy line work that we see across Mega Lucario. It feels so
pretty
iconic,
good.
so cool, and something that we haven't really seen translated to any other Pokemon. And it's something I wanted to bring in here, because these guys aren't meant to be controlled. They're meant to be these walking natural disasters.
Hey, something that's kind of cool is that only in the anime, I believe, not in the card game, Slifer actually has a special ability to where if a monster is revived on the field, its second mouth will open and obliterate that creature before your turn can even begin.
And should therefore have parts about them that feel wild and untamed, that straight lines just can't capture. And so bringing in this texture, I feel really adds a new dimension to the design. So cower in fear, for Slifer is here.
Oh, that
Slifer,
sounds
the Sky
beautiful.
Dragon Pokemon. This Pokemon seems to have appeared from another world, where it was worshipped as a god.
Look at the stats! Most legendaries have only 600. This thing has 700. You cannot withhold the power of a sky god.
Glides through the air with its serpent-like body, with its roars echoing throughout the region. Not much is yet known about these ancient god Pokemon, but the studies do continue to see what we can learn.
Now, while Yugi
Beautiful.
harnessed the
Oh,
power
look.
of Slifer, it was
Winged
Merrick,
Dragon
the
of
big
Ra.
villain of Battle City, who came up with the power of Ra. This is the most Egyptian god of the Egyptian gods. It was modeled
yeah.
and named after Ra, the sun god. You remember Egyptology from grade school, when we all suddenly got really into Egyptian lore? Yeah, that Ra,
Yeah.
the sun god. Ra was always a
Falcon.
really interesting monster to me. Unlike the others who just are, Ra had a whole setup, first appearing as an orb, then as his typical and known form, and then getting support cards that showed that he was more so a firebird held within that
The
plated
immortal
body
phoenix.
from the original card. It was just really interesting to see how the anime was expanding on these already very mysterious monsters that we encountered. And yes, you heard that right. Power creep is a thing. And these ancient and all-powerful gods eventually did have to get support cards. As with the evolution of the game, these gods slowly became more so just your typical boss monsters. That is insane to me.
Truly.
That power creep is that intense that over the course of just a couple years, we went from all-powerful godlike creatures who were banned from competitive play to feeling like they were just any other monster. The game has advanced so much that if you played Yu-Gi-Oh! On Master Duel, then let me give you a piece of advice in case you haven't yet.
Oh yeah?
Don't. I love the game, and so coming into a duel and finding out that I lost before my turn even started was debilitating. And the game is so chock
Damn, that
full of
does kinda
decks
suck.
like that. I see someone play a Magician's Robes or a Dragon with Eyes of Blue, and I know that this was never really
Eyes
a
of
game.
Blue.
It was a feeding frenzy, and I'm just the next piece of jerky in the bag. Maybe you'll get lucky and your opponent will get that one specific hand that means they have to wait one whole turn before destroying you, but even then, they'll likely quit the match since they can farm victories so quickly that one loss by forfeit means nothing to them. How do I know this? How did I get into the minds of these types of players? Because I was one. I became this type of player just so that I could have a chance at winning, a chance at feeling like a winner for once in my life. And it all came down to a coin toss on who would go first.
That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down.
For the look of the Pokemon, I wanted that grandiose
God
look
bless.
and so turned towards some existing Pokemon, like Zekrom, Lugia, and Haxorus. I basically took the wings of Zekrom, the body and layout of Lugia, and the color scheme and scaling of Haxorus. And hot diggity dog,
thinking.
we got us a Raw. I also went with some underlighting on these, similar to Gigantamax forms, so as to give that illusion of
very good thinking.
grandeur. And you know what? I think it paid off. That lighting really makes Pokemon and other characters that you happen to use the same lighting on feel big, makes them feel monstrous. Especially when we're so
Very
used to
good
that
thinking.
overhead lighting that we see in other Pokemon. Seeing something lit this way really adds a new flavor to the design, and one that I think really works for this Pokemon. So bow before the might of Raw.
Oh,
Raw,
that's
the winged
shiny.
dragon Pokemon. This Pokemon appeared from another world. Its skin shimmers like gold, and the shade of its wings seems to nearly...
Okay, hold on. With Slifer and Raw, it does make sense for them to be dragons and all that. But what are you going to do for Obelisk the Tormentor? Make him a dog fighting type or something? He's not a dragon by any stretch of the word.
block out the sun. It can absorb this solar energy to add power to its attacks, and strike with a devastating force. Its solar beam attack is capable of deforesting entire areas of land,
Holy
and it's
sweet
able
Jesus.
to learn these attacks regardless of its typing, which makes it an even more powerful force than any other Pokemon in the area.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Introduced us to a number of strange monsters, like Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, three-headed Gido, or Giga Gogo Gaga Gigo. That's a real card as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, if you want to collect more monsters like these, head on over to our Discord, where we are just chock full of monsters, with me as the king of nightmares. So, if you want to become a part of this community, it's going to be down in the description. It is always free, and I highly suggest becoming a part of this ever-growing community. I'll let you get back to the video, though.
Alright, here we go.
This trail wouldn't be complete without
Obelisk.
its tormentor, which is exactly what my parents said when my youngest brother was born. Yes, Obelisk the Tormentor was carried by Seto Kaiba in Battle City, and I always felt like it was just kind of
given to him.
I don't want to say it, but okay. I always felt like Obelisk the Tormentor was a ripoff of Exodia. Okay, I said it, I get it, I know people love him, but at the same time, look at the guy.
I guess maybe some similarities, but I'm not exactly sure. Well, I mean, it's your own opinion, so that's perfectly fine.
In fact, the art for the monster got updated later after it had finished appearing in the anime so prominently that showcased more of those Exodia-like features. Obelisk was also the moist humanoid of the Egyptian gods.
True.
Maybe it's that the hawk represented one half of the Nile with Ra as a stand-in for the hawk, and the snake represented the other half of the Nile, with Slifer as the stand-in for that representation, which is why you sometimes see pharaohs who have hawks and snakes on their headpieces to symbolize that they were pharaoh at a time when the two were united rather than divided. And Obelisk is just like the guy who wears the hat?
The Pharaoh,
I don't know. I have no idea. Enlighten me in the comments if you do. In fact, while you're down there, maybe consider letting me know what abilities these guys should have. Like Sleepy Doulahan did for Has-Been Hotel's Pokemon video. Those are a different type of god, but ones that I'm always happy to read up on. I've become so enamored in the gods and beliefs of other cultures, and maybe I have Yu-Gi-Oh! To thank for that. The idea of tying godlike characters like Ra, Slifer, and Obelisk, and other ancient god-type figures into this game is interesting. It's something that is so fascinating of a concept, and one that I believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Handled quite well. We have the mythology throughout the series for sure.
It is pretty damn good.
Aliens, spies, different dimensions, common animals, plants, mystic animals, mystic plants, magicians. Here's a picture of Dark Magician Girl just so I can say I had it in the video. You're welcome. And more. All somehow put together into one cohesive game that updates its fan list like it's refreshing its YouTube homepage on a Friday evening looking for the next The Sterninator video. I'm glad that Yu-Gi-Oh! Exists. I'm glad that Pokemon exists, because we are beings of multiple flavors. And it's kind of weird to think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was my introduction into trading card games, one that eventually led here. Full circle, I suppose.
Yeah,
but we
it
aren't
is
done
kind
yet.
of full circle in a way.
There's so many monsters to tackle and oh so little time. In fact, as I write this, I have an Exodia design prepped for our return to this subject. But that's kind of up to you guys. I hate to do it, but if we can get this video to 25,000 views, then I guess I'd have no choice but to summon the Forbidden One and all of his cohorts. The real question is, would we do one Pokemon for Exodia? Or would we do 5? I really hope.
Well, I guess you could kind of actually do it more in like the way Pokedex fellow did, and he made it as like one mon, but there were like multiple pieces you had to collect, and for them to like evolve slash fuse into the final form. If I knew which video that was, I'd put the link down in the description below.
We get to make that video. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. That tells me that you like this subject as much as I do, and it commands me to make more. So do that.
Pull a Jedi mind trick.
And
You
while
want
you're
to
at
like
it,
the
why
video.
don't you
You want to
kneel,
subscribe.
worms, because Obelisk has
Dragon
awoken.
fighting. Okay. Oh, half.
Obelisk,
Oh, God,
the
that was
Tormentor Pokemon. This
I was
Pokemon
half right.
appeared from another dimension and rained down upon all who came before it. It carries within it tremendous strength and is capable of laying forests as well as cities low. The more devastation it causes, the stronger it seemingly becomes.
So who was your
that's
favorite?
good
Who are you
shit.
adding onto the team? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, let me know. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh!, who was your go-to team? I really started out
Ooh.
playing with the Elemental Warriors, but eventually made my way in the more recent iterations and online gaming into the Kaiju archetype, because I when people are having a good time. But if you want to have a good
Okay.
time and also want to support this channel, you can do so by checking out our Patreon or YouTube membership.
Alright, well I think that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.